Hey guys, welcome to Wraith's History Lessons. Today we're looking at one of my favorite tanks, the M41 Walker-Bulldog. Well, there's kind of an interesting history of this little bad guy, so let's get it started. They're looking for a replacement for the M24 Chaffee. It was one of the first tanks developed after World War II by the U.S. Started in 1947, was designated the T-37 originally, and that name should sound familiar to you guys. So this was the first tank design that was actually built around the engine. They pretty much found this big bad engine. They go, let's build the big tank around it. And they did. And so there were three prototypes with a couple different main guns. They agreed on the 76mm main gun, which is currently in the game. And the T-41 entered production at the GMC plant in Cleveland. And during mid-1951, production was started and was known as the M41 Little Bulldog. Now, how did it get the name Walker-Bulldog? Well, a side note is, right about 1950, there was a General Walter Harris Walker who died in the Korean War in a Jeep accident. And to honor him, like they have all of the American U.S. tanks, they're named after American generals. So this one bears his name as the M41 Walker-Bulldog. It was started production full blown in 1951, ended in the late 1950s. 5,500 of these little machines were built, and they were replaced by the M55-1 Sheridan, which is the production version of the T-49, which you see at Tier 8 in this line. So what about the real-life Walker Bulldog? Well, whole armor is 25mm on the front, 19 on the sides. Turret armor is 25mm all around, and the gun mantlet boosted up to 38. So it's really not a whole lot. The real life tank did have a top speed of 72 kilometers an hour, and the gun that it has here fired 4 ammo types: fired heat, high velocity armor piercing, high velocity armor piercing tracer, and high explosive. It's a little different than what you see in the game, but that's okay. They use an APCR round in the game to simulate the high velocity armor piercing, and that's okay. We're okay with that. So what else can we tell you about the little Walker Bulldog? It did service so in Korea when it first came out, they were pushed up, and they figured the Korea War would give a good test bed. The M24 Chafees were having problems dealing with the T-34-85s that the North Koreans and the Chinese were fielding. So they brought over a selection of M41 Walker Bulldogs and said, guys, let's see what you guys can do, and we'll work out the teething problems before we get switching everybody out. And they did, and the 76mm gun performed very, very well and dealt with T-34-85s. So that should tell you something right there about how good this little tank was. So it did actually see operations in Vietnam as well. The French gave a bunch they had to South Vietnamese. The Americans still used them a little bit, but was slowly being phased out by the M60 tanks. And there was actually one armored engagement in Vietnam where South Vietnamese M41 Walker Bulldogs engaged North Vietnamese armor forces. So we're looking at 17 M41s engaged and attacked 22 North Vietnamese army tanks. There were 6 T-54s, another name that should sound familiar to you, and 16 PT-76, which are kind of a light tank variant they had at the time. So they lost. They killed all 22 of these North Vietnamese tanks and only lost 5 M41 Walker Bulldogs. And people say this little bad boy is overpowered. Just remember, this thing was taking out Tier 9 medium tanks in the game. So there's a couple other variants of use that are important to know. A number of countries used it throughout the war. The Danish actually just got rid of theirs starting in 1998. The Taiwanese and the Brazilians still use theirs. The Brazil version is armed with the 90mm gun and has otherwise very similar statistics to the World of Tanks version. And also another version which we don't see in the console but is in the PC is the West German variant, which was like an esports kind of giveaway gun, and it also uses the same 90mm gun. So in the game, the stats are fairly similar. It's 72 kilometers an hour, 56 degrees a second traverse speed. Turret traverse is 50 degrees a second. The hull is 25 all the way around, 35 for the turret front, or 38 for the turret front, and the hull is 25mm all around. Same 76mm gun. It has 175mm of penetration and does 150 damage. So this thing did see quite a bit of use. It was also had 13.95 rounds a minute, just under 14 rounds a minute. With crew and equipment, you can get that up a little bit better. And the view range is 40 or so, full correction, 400 meters. So the M41 Walker-Bulldog had a very distinguished service, served in other countries, it's still in use today. It was a very good light tank for its time, and it was the last light tank built by the U.S. At this point, when the Walker-Bulldog was being phased out, actually it's not the last light. The T-49 was the last light tank, the M55 Sheridan, but it was a very short-lived product. The M60A3 became the first, probably one of the first main battle tank of the U.S. forces. Believe it or not, there was another heavy tank the U.S. did use to some good effect, but the M60A3 the M60 variants replaced this. The final version of the M60 is the A3. And so this tank does have a very storied past. It was a very, very good light tank. It was a very mean little light tank. Very well built. Incredible performance for a light tank. The gun was good. Now today's standard, obviously the gun would suffer against today's modern tanks. And this is it. And this is I think some people say it is overpowered, and it's a very good light tank, but it is a light tank. It is tier 7, 900 hit points. As you can see, I'm getting taken out here by the FV215 183, but he wanted to waste a shot. It was him or me, so I guess he figured it was worth it. So just finishing up here, this game's almost over. Is the Walker-Bulldog a worthwhile tank? Yes, it does. In fact, it is the only non-premium tank that I've actually paid for camouflage value on my with gold. So I have permanent camo on this tank, as well as decals. So if you ever see my little Walker-Bulldog zipping around the field, always going to have the little hot chili pepper on the side of it. So this game, I saw 13 of the enemy tanks. Had 18 penetrating hits, 6 damaging shots, 2 critical hits, and also 1 kill. But I did my part. I brought home 18 targeting hits. That's kind of how a Walker-Bulldog's supposed to do it. These high tiers, these light tanks, aren't made to go up toe-to-toe. But in Vietnam, they did go toe-to-toe with some very bad main battle tanks. The T-54 was considered a main battle tank, although World of Tanks says it's a medium tank. It did serve as an MBT for the Russians, Chinese, and a number of other countries. And believe it or not, I actually saw an Iraqi T-54/55 when I was on my trip down in Mobile, Alabama. So the Walker-Bulldog's a very good light tank. Do not underrate them. When you see them on the battlefield, don't shrug it off as being a casual light tank. It's a very vicious light tank. It's a very good light tank. So guys, if you get the chance, I definitely recommend the M41 Walker-Bulldog. I hope you learned something from the little history lesson here, so we'll take a quick look at the final stats. 4,500 spot, 1 kill, 750 damage. Again, I have 2 barrel marks on mine. It's very hard to get the 3rd barrel mark, and I'm topping out at just under 1,600 base XP and all that experience. So guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the history lesson. If there is a tank you want to see that I have or that I could possibly buy, you want to learn a little history about it, or if it's a real tank or not, please post in the comments below. Shoot me an email. My email link's also on my About page. Tag me up on Facebook. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching as always. Keep your powder dry.